A few months ago, I started my print-on-demand business with Printful, and I showed y'all how I created my first set of designs, like my Anti-Broke Debt Club t-shirt or my Be Still, God is Still Working sweatshirt. And I've been selling for a few months now, and I'm seeing some different patterns, and I've been learning a lot, and I want to get even more serious about what actually sells. So I spent some time researching, looking at sites like Etsy and Redbubble just to see like different design patterns. And what I've been learning is going to change how I design products moving forward. So today I'm going to show you my entire design research process, show you what's actually working and how you can use these different insights to impact your design. This video is sponsored by Printful, and I'm excited to show you how data can impact your print-on-demand business. All right, so let me show you how I actually researched this, because I didn't just like Google things. I had an actual system for how I approached it. So first I started with Etsy, because that's actually where a lot of successful print-on-demand sellers are located. So I went to Etsy and I searched for things like funny t-shirt or motivational t-shirt, and I tried to see what was trending. Then I sorted it by best sellers, and then I took screenshots of everything. I took screenshots of what was selling the best, like things that had the highest sell numbers and anything that had good reviews. And then I did the same thing over on Redbubble. I wanted to choose both Etsy and Redbubble because I feel like they have slightly different audiences. Etsy is a lot more like craftsman type thing, and then Redbubble I think is more like artist led. So kind of similar but different at the same time. So I wanted to use both websites for research. And then I created an actual spreadsheet to track all these different like common elements that I was seeing. So things like colors, fonts, themes, phrases, and price points. And after analyzing about 50 top selling designs, these are the patterns that stuck out. First, color. Keeping it simple actually does work. The best-selling designs either had a white product with black text on top or a black product with white text on top. So anything that had like a really high color contrast ended up selling the best. And anything that did use colors, they didn't have multiple colors. There were some products that had multiple colors, but like the best selling ones didn't have like a whole rainbow of colors. They had like some accent colors, like an olive green or a burnt orange or like a dusty pink, like whatever they picked as their accent color, that was the color that was present, but they didn't have a whole bunch of different colors on one design. Next is fonts. So sans serif type fonts were a clear winner. If you don't know what sans serif is, that basically means any font that doesn't have like the little things that can like hang on the end of a letter. Those things are called serifs. So a sans serif font doesn't have those little like decorative serifs. So like Helvetica is a sans serif font. Helvetica is a oldie but a goodie. I'm not saying that you should use that on your designs, but people do love Helvetica. Even if you don't use that, like something that's clean and readable. Anything that's like a script font, so like a handwriting or like cursive type of font, that didn't do as well, and you didn't see it as much. It's mainly seen in more like feminine type of designs. So if you know your audience and you know a lot of feminine people would be looking at your products, then maybe you can go in that route. But more feminine or like weddings, that type of environment, that uses a lot of script type fonts. But you want to be careful with script fonts because some of them are really hard to read. So you always want to keep that in mind. That's why the sans serif fonts usually do the best, because it's the most readable type of font. And also, in this case, size does matter. You don't want the text to be too small, especially if it's going to be a script font, because that means people really can't read it. But also you have to think about like online shopping. People with online shopping, it's not in front of them, so they can't like put it up to their face to see what the product says. Instead, they're shopping online, so they're looking at thumbnails. And so if you have a small font and it's on a thumbnail, that increases the likelihood that someone's not going to be able to read it. So that's why you do want to use a bigger size font. The next pattern that I saw was theming. So the top selling themes are sarcastic humor, like dry humor, anything that's like a relatable type of concept or a relatable struggle, any type of like niche hobby or something that's motivational. But with the theme, you don't want it to be too generic. So like an example, a coffee mug could say like coffee lover. Well, that's pretty generic, right? Or you could say that I only drink coffee on days that end in Y. Like that's a little more witty. It can make people laugh if they see it. Or it's like, yes, that's me. Any day that ends in Y, that's my preference, right? Like something that can get people to say like, I see myself in that phrase or that saying. And the next pattern is product types. So t-shirts, they still sell a lot. But outside of t-shirts are hoodies and sweatshirts, and also coffee mugs. People tend to like really like those type of products. Also tote bags. Tote bags can be pretty popular amongst people who are a little more like eco-friendly. Think of like your favorite book lover. They probably have a collection of tote bags. Like it's a certain vibe of people who use tote bags. I'm a tote bag user. But yeah, those can be popular too, just depends on your audience. And I will say, even though like these are trends that I'm seeing, I think you should also listen to your audience and see what your audience is telling you that they want. Like I had a video that I put out about my different products that I was selling and how much money I was making. And in the comments, my audience said like, oh, you should sell this. If you design it, we'll buy it. Like that's a clear win for me because my audience is literally telling me, build it and they will come, right? So also listen to your audience, but these are things that overall tend to sell really well. After I identified those different patterns, I wanted to use those like top selling patterns to influence the products that I make. So I wanted to make something that was a motivational design, something that my audience can really relate to. I still want to keep it like a high color contrast, and then I also want to use a clean font to make it really readable, and then also kind of goes with my like minimalist style. Then for my second design, I really wanted to speak to other people who have been laid off. So I wanted to create something that that community can really appreciate, but still using a more muted color palette, more minimalist type design. So something that is clearly legible and can stand out. Then I just upload those to Printful, and then I just choose whichever product I want. So I still want to, because it is getting colder, I do want to create some hoodies and sweatshirts, but I recognize, oh, actually one of my subscribers was like, I don't actually live in a cold area, so I don't want a sweatshirt. I would love this design if it was in a t-shirt. So even though I experience, for the most part, all 4 seasons, there's other people who don't. So I'm still going to create t-shirts even though we are entering into the colder months. And then once it's uploaded, I can just connect it to my online store and Printful takes care of the rest. And that's why I'm a fan of print-on-demand businesses, because it really does make it easy for you, the seller, because you come up with a design, you create the product, and then Printful does the rest. The actual printing of the product, shipping, all fulfillment type things, customer service, like they can do it all. Another trend I noticed was pricing. So the best-selling designs aren't the cheapest. They also aren't the most expensive either, but they are priced competitively and they focus on value. So most successful t-shirts are priced anywhere between like $18 to $25, and then hoodies are priced anywhere between $35 and $45. And the key to this is you want to make sure that the design justifies the price, meaning people need to like it in order to buy it. So the design that you come up with, you want to make sure that people can relate to it and people can feel understood or make people laugh. And if you can do that, then you can charge a little higher prices than something that is just really generic and doesn't really speak to someone. So based on this research, I'm pricing my t-shirts around $25 and then my sweatshirts or hoodies around $40. And that should allow me to have good profit margins while still being competitive. And that means my profit margins for t-shirts can be anywhere between like $8 to $10, which Sounds small, but if enough people buy them, then that adds up. So now that I've done the research and now that I've actually made the designs and made the new products, it is now time to test the design. So I'm going to be promoting the products on social media. So as long as you stick around with the channel, you'll be seeing the new product, and I'm going to see which one sells the best and which one has the most engagement with my audience. And the best part of print on demand is I can test out different ideas, but it doesn't cost me anything to test them out because there's no upfront cost. I only pay when a product is actually bought. So I pay Printful to print the design, print the product, and then that's why I charge more than what Printful charges me. So that's my profit margin. And so yeah, there's no upfront cost. So if something doesn't sell well, I can just remove it from my store and try something new. So based on all this research, I'm going to be creating about 3 to 5 different designs that will come out during this month and into the holiday season. And I'm going to be using the different like proven patterns that I found. And the goal is to have a portfolio of designs that are based on data and research and not just something that I think is cool. So if you're thinking about starting a print-on-demand business, do the work, do the research to see what actually sells, and so that you're not wasting your time creating something that only you like, and instead you're creating something that your audience will like. And as a summary, focus on relatable, specific messages that will resonate with your audience, and then also keep the design on the more simple side with high contrast colors that are easy to read and easily stand out. And again, Printful makes it really easy to test out these ideas. You upload your designs and you only pay when someone places an order. So as always, I will keep y'all updated on what's happening with my print-on-demand business, how successful the different products are. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of those updates. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks again, Printful, for sponsoring. And leave some comments down below, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.